Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here today. Let's look at what we've got going on. Today is the 10th of December. Today we made a transition from one sign to the next in the subconscious, the moon realm. That happened just a short while ago, 7:05 a.m., about an hour ago, Pacific time. It means we're now in Aries, so we have a sun sign in Sagittarius and a moon sign in Aries. Both are fire signs, a lot of fire. Sagittarius is about the truthfulness of a situation, truthfulness in life. The representative symbol is the archer who's shooting the arrow of truth. Sagittarius, the half man, half animal, just kind of shows that our animal nature or our nature is to be comprised of both, and we're learning to balance them out to find the truthfulness of life. We have a trine later at 11 o'clock, and about a couple hours from now, 3 hours from now, we have a trine between Mercury and his symbol right here, which is Uranus. And this is communication in some sort of unexpected communication takes place, something positive. So a couple hours from now, let's just kind of see what happens around our world of communication, messages we get. Alright, and that's what we're looking at there. Moon phase, 61% of the way full, making its way up to the full moon. Mayan Oracle, we're at a two-tone day, the lunar tone of challenge. Dragon is the symbol for today. The guide is the Skywalker. So today would be the lunar dragon guided by the Skywalker. The phrase for today is I polarize in order to nurture stabilizing being. I seal the input of birth with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of space. Spaceweather.com. Our solar wind is currently at 410.0 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is in the 2 to 3 range. Growing a hole. Look at how much larger it looks than it was yesterday. So it seems to be growing in size. We'll keep an eye on that one. M-class flare possibility, like yesterday, is 30%. X-class 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity is about the same as it was yesterday. Nothing real significant. Just look up. You might see some colors in the sky, or you might see some of the Gemini meteor shower that's passing through. It tells us here come the Geminids. Earth is entering a stream of debris from a rock. Comet 3200 Pantheon, source of the annual Gemini meteor shower. So we'll peak around the 13th or 14th, so look up. You never know what you might see. Here is the Suspicious Observers Report for today.
Good morning, folks. We're starting with the ESA's gravity satellite. Its data return now proves the Japan quake changed localized gravity in the area, not to where people are jumping on roofs or getting squashed into pancakes, but enough that we can measure it. Clearly, they're going back through older data, because you might remember this is the satellite that burned up upon re-entry last month. Those who have been watching this channel a while remember when the ESA released their gravity Earth images. Always thought these were cool. Now, while you're checking ESA stories, they have a good one on how the Cryosat took details of last week's Arctic blast in Europe. Caused flooding in 11 countries, wind speeds over 100 miles per hour in 5, and the worst storm surge in 60 years. Those are going to be more common, I'm afraid. Anyway, let's go south. I've sped this up and muted their audio, but highly recommend the NASA and USGS Landsat project detailing the coldest place on planet Earth. Near the bottom of the planet, the slopes of 2 peaks offer partial shading of already sparse sunlight for some serious freeze. Let's go to slightly warmer precipitation. This is a global week of rainfall, followed by a week of accumulation in the eastern hemisphere from the Tropical Rainfall Measurement Mission. Now, while the global mission will kick off next year, they will do so without their planned leader. Arthur Ho was to lead the team but succumbed to pancreatic cancer last month. Big loss for the group and the larger community. Starwater topic, my friend. Mars once could have supported life. For veterans of the channel, this isn't really new, along with things like how they've found ice at the poles of Mercury even, so there's likely liquid near the perimeter interface regions around it. I'll add this to the links anyway, but speaking of Mars, first whole trip radiation levels have been plotted, and it's not terrifically encouraging, although not the worst case either. Fact is, solar storms affect life on Mars' surface much more than they do here. The ambient levels are hundreds of times that of Earth. Doesn't even include the trip to the red planet. This will be tricky. Since we're finding stories relating to my series videos today, let's include Agenda 21. Folks, not every sliver of human input into Agenda 21 is evil. The notion that we should be more efficient is not evil or stupid or ill-advised, but under the guise of sustainability, it projects strength onto that purported system to be, and gives the implementation arms a boost as well. If you haven't seen the U.S. Federal Sustainability Plan, go ahead and give that one a read. Some events for you to check on the RSOE alert map. Fire at Arkansas 1. Second moisture event at the Hope Station in a week. Radioactive materials have been found at a site and declared hazmat. Coming south to Peru, where we're taking sequential eruptions from Ubinas, locals are evacuating nearby the volcano. This footage comes from The Guardian and is the 8th eruption from Ubinas in the last few days. Let's stick to space from here. Geminid meteor shower begins tonight. Peaks into the week. Should get up to 100 per hour or more, and I'll bet my life someone will blame Ison for the yearly show. Anyway, the solar wind speed leveled off and the density held or even increased slightly, if anything. Density delta is what tweaks the sensitive electron flux and magnetometer. The KP index shows we're holding under storm levels for now. Still no significant flaring. Sunspots look good on the intensity gram, but magnetically, they are so well separated. Leading positive blue down south with trailing red negative umbral development. Pretty weak sauce. Then up north, we have negative leading the umbral mismatch there. I'll be excited to get a better view of that one, especially because the core structure visible on the Dopplergram indicates we might have another clear vorticity in the umbral center. I swear, the sun can hear these quake watches. Yesterday the fields were calm, just moving along nicely, set to open up there, but the power of the openings literally got cut in half about 2 hours after we reported in the morning. Enter today. Fields are parting. Coronal hole power returning. I'd love to see the Earth get out of this one. Shots of our star to close, eyes open. No fear, it's 5:55 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Alrighty. Alrighty. So, today, what I want to do is I want to get onto the subject of Ison. I'm going to play something from BP Earthwatch now about Ison, and then later on, in the second part of the show, I've got some more pieces on Ison as well. Big topic, especially since we're going to be hearing about it through the course of this month, and we know that there's something supposed to happen with its brightness in the sky. So let's check this out right now. This is BP Earthwatch. The piece is called Ison Slices Through Lovejoy's Tale. Here we go.
December 9th, 2013. We're looking stereo ahead, guys. You're looking Ison in the last few days. This goes up to the 5th. And I had a question about this. This was not a small comet. It's a lens flare as Venus came in close to the camera on the right. You see that? Now, is this gaseous ball on the left that we're not supposed to look at, is it developed this bow shock on the 5th? They ran it for another 30 minutes. We get these images about one every half hour. Notice it will go to 1920. After this, 20 is 8 o'clock p.m. After this, they cut out 12 hours of frames, guys. For 12 hours, the camera, they cut that entire day out after that bow shot. Now, actually, here we're looking at the Earth and Mercury coming around the sun. That's the Pleiades star system, and you can actually see the imprint if you look very closely on the left. But my point here is size and distance. We're looking at the Earth. The moon is going around the Earth, and you can't see it, guys. Look at it. The moon is 2,100 miles wide. You can't see it. How would you see some debris from a meteorite shower? The Earth is going through three now, the Geminis, the Andromedids, and the new, what I call a Pisces. They're talking about calling the Werdeman Comet meteor trail. So right now we're going through three meteor showers. There were 30 reports, large fireballs last night from the Canadian Meteor Report Center. Now, so you're not going to be able to see any of this debris until it hits the Earth's atmosphere. Now, this is the remains of Comet Ison. This is the Gemini parent object. Look at that. You got to have a close-up to see it, but you can see it. The objects inside the Ison meteor storm, which I call the Isonids. I'm going to go ahead and name it that. I don't care what NASA calls it. It's the Isonids. They're bigger than this. Now watch this. As I release this film, just watch the size of this object. Again, this is what was left of the Comet Ison. See that? That's the parent object of the Geminis. It's big, man. That is huge. It's bigger. That piece is bigger than they ever said Ison was. Again, here's Ison coming in. These are earlier images. This is black and white. Very good detail. Look at the density of that storm. Now, if you remember, guys, last night I did a video. I said we may get a glimpse of Ison if it gets close enough to Lovejoy, because Lovejoy is so bright. Now, look at these images that came in from last night, guys. This is Lovejoy. It had almost a complete disconnect as something pierced through that tail. You see that V formation there? If you have a comet lose its tail, it doesn't blow forward like that and curve back around. That stuff is moving at 2 million miles per day. It doesn't loop back around like that. Ison sliced through this tail. Remember, I told you it was a couple of days ahead, and they were both going to come 0.627 AU from the Earth. Well, because of that, now you can forget the Ison models, because this thing ionized it as it went through. In other words, Ison still has a small amount of charge, simply like friction. If you slide across a carpet and touch your stereo, you ever been shocked? Just friction will build up electricity moving through the atmosphere. Here's where, once it slides through, it killed the energy from the main comet, and we had a disconnect. Look at these close-up images of it. I knew it would be close. I didn't know it would be this close. What does that mean? That means that we have no idea now where the projectiles from the Isonids are going. Both are going fast. One's going up, one's coming sideways, just as in the angles. I have these two pictures for comparison. Now, different astronomers are also reporting this disconnect. They're not saying what happened. There was not a solar flare going through that part at that time. I've seen that happen. That was not occurring. These are older images. This is just a little reminder, guys. You got 5 months of food and water. Here's the sun. This is today's images. Very active. Now, they're saying that it has went ahead and completed that magnetic pole reversal, but we're getting still a lot of activity. And look at the close-ups. Guys, this Earth could set on that little hook. You see that hook there? That's pure plasma density. It means it has density. It's not light. It's like liquid lava almost. Now, they're not showing all the flares here. You see that one going off the left. And you see Ison as it approaches Earth in the yellow dot. Ison is the pink square. Now, again, these models really no longer matter much except general idea. Too much has happened. But, guys, you've got to be ready. And if you think about it, Luke was very precise in his teachings. You look at the summer, we don't have a triple configurated system yet, but we've got a lot of activity coming around the left side. Luke was very precise. He said, in an order, the sun, the moon, stars. Not backwards. That's repeated in the Bible. There's a reason for that order. Sun, moon, stars. That's why I watch them. So we need to watch the sun, guys. What are we going to see here as we go through this second half of the solar cycle? When you flip the poles of the sun, that's the halfway point. So we got to watch it. Keep your heads up. Be ready. Guys, I know a lot of people are anxious for the gathering back with Jesus Christ. But to give you a false warning as far as it could happen at any moment, I can't do that. Now, any of us could die at any moment and be with our Lord. I'm not saying that. And that would be as close to the any moment doctrine that is biblical. But Paul straightened it out. So many preachers take the gathering back from Thessalonians. You got to read the next chapter. Paul said, let me clarify this, guys. There seems to be some confusion here. He knew it would be confusion in the end times, too. He said, until you see the devil sitting in the temple in Jerusalem, proclaiming to be God, putting himself above him, he said, let me make it clear, brothers and sisters. The gathering back to Christ will not happen till you see that. My point is here is not any kind of divisive anything, okay? It's all about being aware. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So if you know that Paul's telling us in Thessalonians that gathering back will be after we see the devil, well, what if a lot of things happen and you're not prepared between now and then, guys? You know, what if something happens? Have you seen the devil yet? No, the world hasn't seen that. But we could have a meteor storm, we could have an earthquake, we could have a government shutdown, financial collapse, famine before then. Are you ready? Heads up, be safe.
All right. So good piece there. So keep watching BP Earthwatch. He's been on top of all of the Ison stuff, and I'm sure he will continue to do so. All right. UFO news is up next. Stay tuned.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today I have 7 stories. Actually, make that 6. First story comes to us from Pearland, Texas. This was on the 8th, which was just the other day. Sunday, glowing UFO seen over Pearland, Texas. There's our object in question. 9:27 p.m. My son was taking out the recycling when he came running inside, yelling at me, telling me there was a weird object moving the sky in circles from left to right. I went outside and noticed strange movements and change of colors. I called my husband. We could not believe this was happening to us. It sure was something that we had not seen before. It kept moving for about a minute. The object was moving too fast and irregularly to be a plane or helicopter, and also the color pattern was not something we'd ever seen. There's the object right there again. My husband went inside, grabbed his camera, and as he was coming out, it moved quickly, flashed, and disappeared. After 2 seconds, there was a loud thunder-like noise, yet there was no rain or thunder just before or after this happened. No good pictures were able to be taken, just one cell phone picture, which looks like a small bright dot in the dark. Alright, that's what we have there. Next story takes us up to the Sun. Mothership, seen near Sun on a weekly basis this year. So we recall this object continues to be up by the Sun. Look at the photo in the upper left-hand corner and you will see something that really concerns me. This is a perfectly balanced and even shape, something you would not expect near the Sun. However, I have seen it every week for almost a year, and it's not the only one. Oftentimes I see 2 or 3 of these giant UFOs near the Sun in the Soho pictures. The shape never changes, and the yellow glow never changes position, although the ship itself does change its position. Keep an eye on this one, folks. Okay, so we've certainly pointed out a number of them that have been up there over the course of this year, and it's just a nice, good compilation of the most recent. Okay, so they're up there. What are they doing? Not quite sure what they're doing, but they are there. And that is the important thing that we need to be aware of. Moving on. Now we're going to go over Maricopa County, Arizona. Checking in to see how Sheriff Joe is doing. It's a new video of strange lights flying across the night sky over cities of Gilbert and Queen Creek in Arizona. This was taken on Sunday. Small lights appeared and disappeared. Some moved in seemingly random fashion. Some were stationary. My friend and I were leaving the house and getting in her car when I pointed out the strange lights behind her. The lights, I think 4 or 5 total, slowly moved in different directions, out south towards nothing. Our airport is the opposite direction. There was really only residential areas and desert in the direction the lights were. Right, if we look at this, we've got just a short little video that they've brought forward. I'll come back to that one there. This is Newry, Norh Ireland on the 8th of December. This is a pulsating green light recorded in the night sky above Newry, Norh Ireland. Says I've been watching this for over 20 minutes and there is no beams of light. Okay. So this one's a little bit more difficult to see. Alright. It's out there, you can see the blink. If you enlarge this, you'll see it definitely better. Okay. And let me jump back here to this one here. I believe we saw this one the other day. Yeah, this was the one, the triangle. That was over Gilbert County or Maricopa County. Alright. Moving on. Next we have over Belfast, Ireland. This was on the 9th of December. Witness said the pic was taken the pic was just meant to represent how good this morning was. When I uploaded it to my social site, there was this white dot in the pics. I used XP Paint to cut and enlarge the photo. It's crazy, and it's actually lights separated from each other, and it looks like vapor below it. Right, there's our object in question. Very fascinating. Again, a lot of times people take these photos not intending to take a picture of a UFO, and then of course that is exactly what they capture. So you never know what you're going to find if you take a picture of the sky. Look up, look up, look up. Okay, diamond-shaped UFO in Vermont makes strange wave noise before disappearing. I was walking towards a building on campus, and as I got closer, the sky no longer covered by trees, I noticed a light gray diamond-shaped object hovering near but far above the building I was heading towards. The side of it was sort of shimmering in the sunlight, hid, and this caught my attention. At first it was not moving, it was hovering in one place in the sky. I did not think of anything it could be when I first saw it, but I knew it looked strange. I'd never seen such a thing in the sky, especially in that location ever before, and I knew this was not an airplane because planes do not simply stay in one location in the sky and are not diamond-shaped. The diamond-shaped object continued to hover in the same location in the sky for about 5 to 10 minutes, but I can't say an exact time. After observing it for some time, it suddenly disappeared. I then heard a loud, almost waving noise. It's difficult to describe, but when I took notes on what I saw that day, I wrote, a little like the sound of an airplane flying, but different. The noise was slightly similar to the sound I would hear airplanes in New York City make, but it was no more of a wave, but it had more of a wave to it, for lack of a better word. The object reappeared across the sky to my right. It was moving very quickly. I watched until it moved too far away for me to see it. While viewing the object in the sky, I was confused. Of course, I also found it strange that no one else was looking to the sky. Well, it's not so strange that people aren't looking to the sky. I mean, on a daily basis, I'm sure you encounter plenty of folks that aren't looking up to the sky, paying attention to what's really going on out there. I certainly know I do. I'll be looking up and looking at chemtrails in the sky that are being painted, and nobody looks. People kind of wonder what I'm looking at when I'm looking up at the sky. And very strange how people just walk through life with blinders on like they don't want to see. You know what I'm talking about, right? Very weird, very weird. Strange times we're living in. All right, that's our UFO news. I'll be back. We got some more stories for you, so stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
All right, let's continue on. Obama, the gift that keeps on giving. It's hard to say gift, but the dictator that keeps on giving. Never a dull moment with this guy. One continual lie after another, as if this guy was taught that lying is actually the new truth. Seems to be. Because you know how we know the stories about he has 19.5 million fake Twitter followers? Yeah, 19.5 million of them. Why would you have to have 19.5 million fake followers on Twitter? I mean, do you feel good when you're sending a text to your peeps and say, that's great, I just sent out a message to 19 million people? But if those 19 million people don't really exist, then really what are you doing when you send out that Twitter message? Talking to yourself, I suppose. I don't know, but check this out. The man who's Mr. Dishonesty says exposed 126th Obamacare enrollees are not real. I know. This shocks you. I know that you're shocked right now. You're floored. You can't believe that this would actually be occurring. But let's go on. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Obama's administration continues to pile lie on top of lie in regard to Obamacare. The good it will do for the people, the good it has done so far. The White House's most recent lies have been in regards to how many people have actually enrolled in Obamacare. Leftists really have a critical case of foot and mouth disorder as more deceit comes in light on almost a daily basis now. Liberals seem to only point out the fact that Republicans are making up numbers when talking about how many Americans have lost their health insurance because of Obamacare. We all know the accusations of lies that are actually true in an effort to make Republicans look as bad and untrustworthy as they do. But now a new card has been added to the Republicans' hands. According to recent ABC reports, Obama administration officials admitted Monday that roughly 126,000 Americans who successfully navigated the Obamacare website and enrolled in a new health plan might not have officially signed up for their plans. What? We all know that Obamacare has been collapsing, built on a ruble of deception, but it appears that this old girl is about to collapse. A few more blows of failure and uncovered lies may just be enough to topple it for good. This website has a technical errors from the beginning and is costing around $600 million, an outrageous number. It has no excuse for such troubles. Obama has lied in order to pass this law. His administration has lied to continue the law. When does somebody do something about the lies and the misfortune that is Obamacare? Never has such a deceitful president been allowed to carry on for as long as this man has. Are you as sick of his lies, for lack of a better term, as I am? For lack of a better term, there is no other term. That is a good term. Yes, he lies. He lies over and over and over and over and over. This man is a liar. Anybody who's listening to this man and can actually say he's telling the truth really isn't paying attention, or they are just so caught up in this left-right paradigm that they have to just be for him because he's Democratic. That's kind of silly too. When will people wake up to this? I know you're asking the same question. I know we're all in this together. We're all experiencing the same goofballs out there that are taking information from the mainstream news and running with it as if it's truth. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, the media. The media we hear about all the time is a situation in which it is controlled by corporate interests, and therefore they put the propaganda out in the world that is necessary to go out to keep people in order, keep people at bay. Well, here's a piece that comes to us from RT, and it is called One Media Giant is Monopolizing the Entire Local TV Market. So this sheds some more light on this particular subject. Here we go.
Have you ever heard of Sinclair Broadcast Group? Well, if you haven't, you probably should, especially considering it's the company that likely owns your local news station. Sinclair Broadcast Group is the telecommunications corporation that operates the largest number of local television stations in the country. So how large could this company really be? Well, the key number here would be 146. That's exactly how many television stations Sinclair currently owns. But that number will soon grow a little larger because Sinclair is rapidly acquiring more and more newsrooms. One of its latest contracts includes a $985 million deal in which Sinclair bought up 8 television properties. But this buyout is far from unique. In fact, Sinclair alone is behind 7 deals that were completed in just this last year. And that takes us up to 164, because in due time, the company is expected to add 18 more news stations to its collection. And that means the conglomerate will be able to reach approximately 38.7% of U.S. television households. And Sinclair doesn't discriminate. The stations under this media giant are quite diversified. In fact, its roster is set to include 39 Fox affiliates, 29 of ABC, 26 of CBS, 25 of the CW, 16 of NBC, and the list goes on and on. But perhaps what's most peculiar about this is the fact that the company will have 164 stations in only 77 markets. So do the math. That means there are markets where Sinclair will own more than just one station. Let's just take a look at the state of Florida. In both West Palm Beach and Pensacola, Sinclair owns 4 competing stations. And if that's not enough, in both Gainesville and Tallahassee, the telecom giant owns 3. But here's the hitch. As the stations consolidate into the same company, so does their content. It's a popular way for big media companies to cut their costs. So that means a viewer in one city could flip through all their local stations, see different anchors, but hear the same words. In fact, it's something Conan O'Brien poked fun at in one of his comedy bits.
In consumer news, economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
So the million-dollar question is, how is Sinclair able to get away with this? Well, in 1999, the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, changed its playing rules. It said it would permit common ownership of 2 television stations within the same market if 8 full-power independent television stations will remain post-merger. The FCC assured critics that the change would still allow for healthy competition. But it hasn't, because it's opened up a way for Sinclair Broadcast Group to skirt around the rules. This is all laid out in a recent report put out by Free Press, which is a media watchdog group. Free Press says that Sinclair has been capitalizing on a loophole to the rules, taking over multiple stations through the use of outsourcing agreements. Basically, it means that Sinclair is purchasing these stations through subsidiary companies it oversees. These sidecar companies are Cunningham Broadcasting, Deerfield Media, and Howard Stirk Holdings. Free Press argues that this should serve as a wake-up call to the FCC. The report says unless the FCC starts enforcing its rules, there will be much more consolidation to come. Newsrooms will close. People won't have competing sources of news about issues that matter to their communities. But perhaps we shouldn't expect the commission to act on this anytime soon, especially considering Sinclair just picked up an FCC insider to be its chief lobbyist in D.C. Rebecca Hansen, who focused on broadcast spectrum issues at the FCC Media Bureau, will join Sinclair on January 2nd as Senior VP for Strategy and Policy. She'll oversee a new D.C. office, conveniently located just an arm's length away from both the FCC and, of course, a whole host of Washington lawmakers. So it's highly probable that we're just seeing the beginning of Sinclair's covert consolidation and monopolization of the market. The next time you flip through your local channels and get the feeling that things sound eerily familiar, at least you'll know why. In Washington, Amira David, RT.
All right, so all that does is simply confirms what we already know. It's unfortunate that there are still a good number of people in the world who don't understand this. If more people did understand this, it'd be much better. Especially, how many people do you know, friends, family members, associates, that tell you that they are a proud American, yet they don't even freaking understand the rules of this country. They don't know how things work. It's silly how people in the world really think they know what's going on when they don't. And the ones who don't know seem to be the ones that are hollering the loudest of what they actually know. Strange, strange, strange. I'll never understand the strangeness. If you understand, please explain to me, because it feels to me like I'm in the middle of some big Dungeons and Dragons game and somebody has cast an illusion spell and everyone around me is caught up in it. You probably feel the same way, right? So, dispel illusion. That's what you need to do. Dispel illusion. Okay? Now, I mentioned Dungeons and Dragons. You know how much of a geek I am. Moving on. Google wants microphones in your ceilings and microchips in your head. Awesome. Google Engineer Director Scott Huffman says that within 5 years, people have microphones attached to their ceilings and microchips embedded in their brains in order to perform quicker internet searches. In an interview with the London Independent, Huffman said that Google was working towards a concept based around microphones hanging from the ceiling that would respond to verbal queries. Like a great personal assistant, it will interrupt you and say, "You've got to leave now." It will bring you the information you want, said Huffman, adding that 5 years from now, Google will answer you the same way a person would answer. When challenged on the likelihood of such a system being vulnerable to NSA wiretapping, Huffman glibly responded that people should just trust Google. Ha ha ha. Company that allowed to NSA to mine data from its cloud network at will to safeguard their information. Huffman touted the features of such a system, suggesting people could ask Google to screen football highlights on their television via the microphones or arrange travel plans. I could ask my Google Assistant, "Where would we have lunch that serves French food and isn't too expensive?" Google will go, "Okay, we'll go to that place." And when I get in my car, it should already be navigating to the restaurant. We're really excited by the idea of multiple devices being able to talk to each other, said Huffman. So, technology does have some good benefits. We all know that. Unfortunately, we live in a society that likes to take technology and turn it into something of a weapon, weaponizing it. That's what our society does, unfortunately, and we'll see where it all unfolds, but all this is building to something. Alright, we're going to turn our attention back for a couple stories here, back to the Ison. We know about Ison going around the sun, and then of course we heard all the debunking that went on out there that Ison had melted, disintegrated. But then we found out that no, that wasn't true. That was just NASA lying. Again, people have been studying Ison. This is a piece here. It's a really good piece. It's called Ison Phoenix Rebirth. Comet Ison debris field mimics Chinese myth Feng Huang. So check this out. There we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we look at ancient history, you'll notice there's two things that span all cultures, all times, and are ingrained within the fabric of society itself. The one is the flood myth worldwide. The other is the phoenix, something rising out of the ashes that was burned and created new life and becomes a mythical being. Somehow a celestial object is eaten by flames and then reborn into a new light, marking the beginning of a new era. The ancient Egyptian phoenix, termed Bennu, you notice the green circle on the top of the head. That represents what I think is something with a coma around a comet. Hindu mythology refers to it as Garuda. The ancient Arabian phoenix also exists. When we come to the North American tribes, they also had the firebird legend in the sky. That was not lightning, please. The ancient phoenix from China itself, termed Feng Huang, is about rebirth. Now let's take a look at some satellites here. Follow along. You can see after Ison exited the sun, it has a distinct debris pattern that is holding together. It is spreading though, but it is holding together. Notice as it flies out, I'll give you some closer looks here. Watch the arrow, as you can see, going around. That's actually the coronal mass ejection hitting the back of that thing and lighting it up. This is the Sechi HI1. As we can take a look through here, the debris trail, very, very, very distinct. That rock is not 3 miles wide or 5 kilometers. That is impossible. And this is what's left over of a 3-mile wide rock, according to NASA, flying through space, millions of miles from the sun, holding together in its own trajectory and pattern. But that thing was only 3 miles of just dust, apparently, to NASA. I don't believe that. A close-up starts to resemble sort of, I don't know, something poking out of there, a head, I don't know, a jet, maybe a beak of a mythical, reigniting, electrical universe reconnecting the comet charge back to the sun. Here's another black and white view so you can see the contrast a little bit better. Zoom in on that for you there. 3-mile wide rock that broke apart? I don't think so. That's at least 5 million miles wide itself there. All right, this is Comet Ison entering the sun. This is LASCO C3, the blue filter. Now notice something, the filament, the plasma filament that's actually reaching off the sun to try to connect to that comet. This thing does remind of some serpents, dragons in the heavens, and I did a video on that about a month and a half ago, calling that these plasma filaments would jump off as the comet neared the sun. Now here we are. This is LASCO C3, the red filter. Watch as it comes around, and whoosh, it sort of turns into some sort of, it looks like winged being. Now, how would an ancient society describe this? All right, here we come. This is LASCO C3, blue filter. Come around again, whoa, and there you get the wings and that kind of spray out effect, causing the coronal mass ejections. You cannot tell me, though, that is not an electrical influence from the comet on the sun. Here's a slowed down version of it. 3 satellites are taking these different angles, but you can see it's very distinct that that is holding together as a pattern. Here's the core 2A and B. Again, as it exits the sun, it has that flare out pattern. At the same exact time, this incredibly rare V rainbow occurred in the skies. Same shape as what we're seeing with the debris pattern of Ison. Now, BP Earthwatch does a great job jumping in, using his color saturation to show you the pieces that remain inside this debris field. Some of those are quite large. Those are hundreds of miles across, not 3 miles. When we see this same picture, it starts to resemble something pulling out, being reborn. The sun is in the center. It has something to do with the sun. The ancient legends from the Chinese have to do with the sun. Now, in China, as well as Asia, the body of the phoenix symbolizes 6 celestial objects within the heavens, if you will. The head of the phoenix represents the sky. The eyes are the sun. The back is the moon. The wings are the wind. The feet are the earth. And the tail are the other planets circling around. The feathers are different types of colors. There's black, white, red, blue, and yellow. And these all depict celestial body movements through. Now, why would an ancient culture put a mythical icon that mimics the heavens? Obviously, they were talking about something coming through, something to notice that was different. Something happened in the heavens, and the way that they could pass down stories and traditions was through either oral or written, but it had to be such a special thing that it had to be a mythical creature to explain it. And I bet if we had the JPL orbital diagrams or something that went back that far, we could probably find another comet that fit the same bill. If we had satellites 8,000 years ago, let's say something in the Hongshan Neolithic period, if we had LASCO C2, I'm sure we would have seen what they're talking about. Even in Japan, their phoenix Ho-Oh, also look at the cometary types of tails in the skies. Yuan Dynasty showing the same thing. Now, we're coming to the cometary encyclopedia, but look at the very bottom one where it says figure 1. That definitely looks like a rooster head, some type of bird head coming off of there. Come on, there's too many coincidences with the shape of these things. Now, when we come to Comet Holmes, this is my proof to you that comets can reignite themselves if a coronal mass ejection were to touch it. There's an electrical connection in our universe. It's called the electric universe. There's Birkeland currents flying through space, and Comet Holmes is a perfect example. It's an orbital comet. It comes around again and again, not too close to the sun, but this was on its way out to Jupiter on the way out, and it reignited and had this large coma. That coma was larger than our own sun. It became the largest thing in the solar system itself. My thoughts on this are that as the remains, the debris field of Ison, march past the conjunction between Mercury and the Earth, there's a magical line right there. It's a reignition line, if you will. And that is going to go out to another conjunction that happens on the 16th. So during this time, from the 8th to the 16th, there's a high probability that individual pieces within the coma will reignite, gain their own tails, and start to have their own comas again. This will go right along with the Phoenix myth. Something went into the nest of the sun, burned, and reemerged again. But This time it will be more of a string of pearls type of thing, with each one of these objects becoming its own comet-like body, just as Shoemaker-Levy 9 in 1994, that string of pearls effect. See something very similar to that, and the Phoenix is reborn. Modern day, how do you explain it? And one last thing, almost all the depictions of Phoenix show something radiating from the head. Now if you look at that, and you just saw all the things I just showed you on this video, that is a coma coming off of a comet. They were trying to use mythical legend to show cometary movements in the sky. And again, beyond mythical legend, how about into our modern science legend of snowballs in space? Come on. The electric comet model's definitely been proven by this transit of the sun from Ison. All the CMEs that occurred during that time, how many were there? 7? You cannot tell me when that comet caused so many CMEs to come off the sun as it rounded it. This is the electric comet model, and it will demonstrate an electrical field again between the debris of Ison and the sun, causing their reignition somewhere between December 8th and December 16th. For those of you with your eyes on the skies, here's a sky map for December 9th, showing what's on the horizon. Appreciate you watching.
Alright, so there you go. Another piece showing you it is alive and well out there. Here's another one. I'm not going to play the whole piece, just bits and pieces of this. This talks about the debris field that is going on out there with Ison. Okay, comes to us from Secure Team 6. Let's see what this has to say.
Following its peculiar trip and survival around the sun, and the growing debris trail that is being generated as this comet continues on its journey through space. Here we have a video taken from NASA's Stereo 1 imager showing Comet Ison's path, having gone around the sun and the subsequent breaking up of its core into millions of smaller rocks and debris, all of which we on Earth will pass through in the coming months, starting in mid to late January. It is an almost undeniable fact that we will pass through the debris tail of Comet Ison. The Earth will get struck, NASA says, by dust and rocks, and regardless of what anyone says, there is no way of telling just how much damage may or may not come from this event. It will take the Earth about a week to pass through the debris field of Comet Ison, which, by the way, is growing in mass each day, and will be several times the size of the Sun when we do pass through it. Comet Ison's debris trail has fanned out to be some 40 million miles wide end to end, and as the Sun's CMEs continue to blast this thing, the debris trail will expand in ways that no science aficionado can predict. Its current speed is at about 140,000 miles per hour, and is traveling through space at a rate of 2 million miles per day. Now, when this comet was intact, there was no real threat to Earth present, regardless of what other YouTubers here may have stated. The data was right there, and continues to be there, only now the data is showing a very real possibility that there's a growing threat to us here on Earth. Comet Ison is supposed to pass above the Earth at about 40 million miles, but with its debris tail stretching some 20 million miles in both directions, it means that this thing will only be around 20 million miles from touching the Earth. Its debris field is growing, so it's a very safe bet that this thing will touch us eventually.
Alright. Leave that there. Move on, because we got one more piece. There's a little bit left. You can watch that. And this last piece here is interesting because this piece here goes over the analysis, or actually it gives lots of different names of Nibiru. Okay? And as it goes through here, there's 32 different names that Nibiru has gone by through the course of history, and I thought this would be a fascinating list to look at. It goes from Planet X to the 12 planets to Nibiru. Those are the common ones we know. Marduk is one of them. Great heavenly body. We got the winged globe. On and on. We got Typhoon, Nemesis. We've heard some of those. Apep, Seth, God of Destruction. Mayans call the Quetzalcoatl. It's also known as Lucifer, Wormwood, Red Kachina. Alright? So a lot of different designations. Fiery Dragon, Planet X. So a lot of different ways that this planet has gone by, a lot of different names. So when we're looking up there, we're not just looking at the same object, we're looking at an object that certainly has a reputation and has been around for quite some time. Alright, this piece here is, well, this speaks for itself. Listen to what this gentleman has to say.
Our relatives, this is Standing Out, Chief Golden Light Eagle speaking to you, coming from Sedona, and we've just did a segment for the Ancient Aliens History Channel series. Now, I was having a little bit of a problem with the term alien, and especially with ETs, extraterrestrial biological entities, because they're a form of negativity sound. And our brothers and sisters of the stars, they work with light. They work with a very high vibration. So these terms, alien and all that, sets up a negative vibration within you that's not very good, because under the laws of attraction, the star people will not hang around you very long. They're very sacred people, very enlightened people. They're beings and people of light. We use the term English star nations, star people, star brothers and sisters. In our ceremonial ways, we call them Wichach Pe Oyate, which is a very sacred terminology and very sacred way of addressing our relatives from the stars. So this is just one small teaching that we need to share with you at this time.
For more information on the next Star Knowledge Conference, go to starknowledgeconference.com.
Good information there from the chief. Very important. We want to show respect. You know, there are different types of groups that are up there, extraterrestrial groups. Some are more well-meaning than others. So we want to make sure that we understand that. We don't want to lump everyone up into one category as being bad. So star brothers, star sisters, star nations, those are all good terms. Alright, this piece here is part 3 of this piece on how to ascend. Okay, how to ascend. Going within, one of the biggest fears some people face in seeing ourselves for who we really are, without the title given to us from our career, the title of a parent or someone else's. We fear the loss of identity of who we are. We've been programmed from an early age, from television and school, to grow up to be someone. Those who have not yet awakened to their true identity will do anything to keep the mind distracted and occupied. These people seem to fill their calendars with almost more than they can handle until they collapse at night, only so they can sleep, get up, and do it all over again. They derive a false sense of accomplishment for all the things they do. It defines who they are in their minds, and it's their ego's job to keep the charade up. Once a person awakens to the fact that they are spirit having a human experience, questions begin to arise about the real meaning of life. The questions of who am I and what is my life purpose invariably come to mind. In order to drill down the core of who you are, you still have the ego-driven mind, and clear your calendar for some alone time. So what does it mean to go within? Well, to go within simply means to be with yourself, to listen to yourself, your higher self, and to feel yourself by calming the mind and clearing the clutter, allowing for more space for your higher thoughts to enter your being. Going within usually involves some form of meditation. There are many forms of meditation available to you and many intended results. There are so many it may become overwhelming and confusing to try them out, to choose which is best. However, the best suggestion is simply to create your own from the beginning. To go within simply means to hear your true self through your thoughts, separate from the mundane chatter rather than the basics of what you hear every day. Alright, there's a lot more to this, but basically this is speaking to what we do every day. Okay, we do the meditations in order to help with this process. We all have the ability to contact these higher realms of existence. We don't have to go out there to do it. We go in here to do it. And that's where the connections are made. That's why we always are encouraging each other to meditate, to be able to take the time to go within, to find out what you need to know. Because if you go inside there, you're going to find the truth. On the outside, you get the physical world, and you have to deal with that illusionary aspect you have to get past. And well, that's always a challenge, as we all know. All right, last here before we get to the meditation is our message from Salusa.
December 5th, 2013.
Salusa.
Matters are moving on to their conclusion at such a rapid speed that you need to keep an open mind and be prepared to ensure you go with the flow. Old beliefs are being shaken to the core, and this is intentional and intended to bring you into the new age. Many of them carry a degree of truth that was sufficient to enable your feet to be placed on the path to realization, but they are no longer adequate for the massive changes that are taking place. The time rapidly approaches when you will be given the opportunity to raise your vibrations to such a level that eventually only the truth will exist. You are already on that path to total enlightenment, and much help is being given to ensure you have every opportunity to complete your ascension. So much is going on around you that you may well find it confusing, but providing you follow your intuition and look within, you will have the answers. As always, be discerning and know that messages of light and love have a special feel about them, and will never carry the lower vibrations associated with negativity. The period you are entering is already of a higher vibration than you experienced a relatively short time ago. Time continues to speed up, and it is your proof of the higher level of vibrations that you now reside in. The more you center yourself and focus on your light, the more you will be prepared for the ongoing increase in vibrations that are destined to lift you out of duality. Do not be distracted by the turmoil that inevitably results from the massive changes that are taking place. Energies of a low vibration that have no place in the new age can no longer be sustained. They will lose their ability to remain along with the higher vibrations that are being established, and stay in the third dimension. Ascension will be the culmination of all of the changes occurring, and is the final outcome for those who have lifted their vibrations into the higher dimensions. You are being given the opportunity to permanently leave the cycle of rebirth, and it is a unique time that comes with the closing of the present cycle. Where in the past you have played your roles that have created and sustained separation, that epoch has finished and is being played out to its conclusion. You have always been one with each other, although often you have played roles that have put you in opposition. That was to speed up your evolution through the experience gained, and as a result it is now proceeding even quicker as the light grows in its intensity. Those who have already progressed are also helping others who follow in their footsteps, in the same way that you are being helped now. In your solar system you are the last ones who wait to achieve ascension, and you will continue to receive immense help until every soul has done so. The Dark Ones are in a state of panic and trying by all means to prevent the inevitable end of their rule. It will be to no avail, so there is no need for concern, and we would ask that you concentrate on bringing through the light. The more you can apply yourselves to achieving your aims, the quicker events will move on. It will enable the first official announcement to be made by President Obama acknowledging the existence and contact with our space friends. It will result in open discussion and awareness of them, an agreement to negotiate the protocol that will allow open contact to be made. From there the whole subject will enter the public domain, never again to be hidden from view. So we ask you to stay within the light at all times, and do not be distracted by anything that is clearly not of it. For a very long time the truth of your being has been held back from you, but very soon it will be known. It will speed up your progress, and without the interference of the Dark Ones it will soon reach higher levels than at any time since this cycle commenced. At the end of a cycle there is much sorting out, and each soul is given every opportunity to move into their highest level of being. Since in reality there is no such thing as time, everything is in the now, and there is no need to worry about another soul's progress. Each soul has an infinite amount of time in which to complete their journey home. All happens in perfect relationship to all else in accordance with God's plan for man. Be assured many souls travel with you on your journeys, and you are never alone. They are your helpers and guides to give you every assistance and enable you to successfully reach your goals. You will find that it is always the more evolved beings that reach down to help those following in their footsteps. However, they do not impose themselves upon you, but will always respond to your calls for help. It is necessary to bear in mind that you do not always get what you call for, as your life plan is known to them and in accordance with it the most appropriate action is taken. They will gently and wisely point you in the right direction and celebrate with you when you have achieved your life's plan. Keep your eyes straight ahead and know that in real terms there is little time left to complete your life plan, but many souls are doing their best to ensure you are successful. They are always with you and share your hopes and aspirations, and help you on your journey back to the light. Your free will is most valued and important, and must be handled with care if you are one who is destined to ascend at the end of this cycle.
Thank you, Salusa.
Alrighty, very nice message. That brings us to find out what the angel message is and hop right into our meditation. You have the ability to guide others for their highest good. You have the ability to guide others for their highest good. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Activate all of your chakras from the bottom of the spine, red, drawing the energy from the earth. And moving up to the next chakra above it at the belly button, orange is the color we see. And the light continues up from the belly button to the solar plexus just below the rib cage, and there you see the color yellow. And from there you move the energy up higher into the heart space to the green heart chakra, and there you see the color green. The energy moves up from the green heart chakra to the throat, and there you see the color blue. From the blue throat chakra, you move the energy up between the two eyes to the third eye. There you see the color indigo. And finally, the light moves to the crown chakra. You see the color violet, and the light continues on up into the cosmos. All of your energy centers, your chakras are activated. You feel the energy flowing in and out smoothly and efficiently. You feel the energy pulsing through your body, and you feel the warmth of temperature of all of these different energies, as well as seeing the colors of each of these different chakras. And then this energy fills and spills over your body to expand out into the room that you're in, out into the city, the state, the country, and around the world, just sharing your energy of protection, love, and light with everyone around the planet. And now I want you to imagine looking at the system of the world. And as you look at the world and you see the systems in place, you realize that the systems are broken. You can see that the systems are broken. And you see that there are many, many good people, millions of good people trying to work within a broken system. You feel the frustrations of all of those trying to work within the broken system, and you realize that the only solution is to allow the system to completely break. And so one by one, you speak to your neighbor, and they speak to the other, and everybody shares the same message. Do not be afraid. Let go and let the system collapse so that we can rebuild again. And as the messages spread, you see, in a symbolic form of letting go, everyone, millions of people raise their hands. And in raising the hands, they symbolically symbolize letting go of the system. Letting go of the system that is not working anymore. A system that is broken. A system that has been corrupted. When we let go of this system, when we imagine as we let go, we see this system like a blanket stretched out between us. Once we let go, we see this system fall to the ground, crash. And at first there is a loud noise and people become afraid. But then once it settles in that this broken system is no more, and the idea comes to mind that we now have the opportunity to fix and start over again, people become more filled with confidence. And as millions and millions and billions of people around the planet begin anew, to create fresh, to rebuild, we begin to understand the destiny. Our destiny lies within our hands. In the same way that we allowed the system to crash because it was corrupt, now we use our hands to build. And that is good. So let's just imagine ourselves rebuilding the world in the goodness that we need it to be. Let us imagine letting go of all of those things which no longer serve us, the doubts and the fears and the negativities. Let us imagine a world of love, a world of peace. And as we go into the world today, let's just hold that idea of love and peacefulness in our hearts and silently share it with each and every one we meet. Let our subconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. And that's it, my friends. That's it for today. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you taking time out to watch the show, check out the information. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and other stories. So you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Be safe and just keep sending out the positive vibes. That's what we have to do. Something easy to do. All right? All right. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.